This episode of the Closeout Bodyboarding podcast is proudly presented to you by limited edition fins. Shane, I've always wanted to know, what's the big difference between the original limited edition fins and the new Psylocke fins?
Benny, the Psylocke fins are bigger and wider than the original LE foot pockets. So basically when you try them on, they'll actually be a size up. Psylocke's fit really well in half sizes to the original fins. So I used to not be able to fit into the larges in the original LE fins, but I fit perfectly into the Psylocke large. So I just recommend everyone, if you weren't comfortable in the original LEs, go in and try on a new Psylocke's.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. Back to you in the studio. Welcome back to the Closeout Bodyboarding podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Benny Oborn. On this episode, I'm going to be joined by my co-host, Chris Watson, as we catch up with Bodyboarding Victoria, new president Adam Williams. We chat about his new appointment, his vision for the future, and his recent trip to Sydney for the very first national titles ever held in a wave pool at Urban Surf. We also dive into the upcoming State of Origin event series with South Australian Bodyboard Club, talk about the DKS Sessions collab and the much anticipated Robe trip across the South Oz over the Melbourne Cup long weekend. Later on in the episode, we're also going to be joined by Clayton Pickworth, Director of DK Sessions, where we'll discuss the upcoming collab with Bodyboarding Vic, the masterclass that is Dane Pope, and the big changes lined up for the main event later on in the year. Plenty of exciting insights and stories in this one. So let's jump straight into it. First and foremost, on behalf of Chris and myself, massive congratulations on stepping into the role of President, El Presidente per se, for Bodyboarding Vic. A clear, natural transition after all the work you've been putting in behind the scenes over the last few years, obviously with some good guidance from a few people that may or may not be in this podcast. But mate, how's that new desk feeling? I mean, does it feel new? Was it sticky? Was there anything left in the drawers that you want to disclose or talk to HR about?
No, the desk is great. And yeah, there were a few residues, let's call it that. But no, it's all good. Like I said, or you just mentioned, Benny, there was a lead up to this. There was a transitional period. I must admit, post AGM, post being elected, I sort of reflected, that Sunday afternoon after it all, the dust settled, and it was like, wow, I'm President of Bodyboard Victoria. Didn't see that coming.
This just got real.
Yeah. But other than a few fleeting moments like that, it feels right. And, props to you two and other guys around like Shane and the crew that have made me feel like that. So, yeah, no, it feels natural. Challenge, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it feels good.
Mate, more so props to you. I mean, Watto and I couldn't think of anyone more fitting to take on the role. You're a true professional at face value, behind the scenes. You're a different person, but we'll talk about that later. But I mean, your background, career-wise, kind of lines up really well with what you're doing moving forward for Bodyboarding Vic, mate. And you've got our support in any way, shape or form whenever you reach out. And, mate, we're looking really forward to kind of watching you grow and, continue, I guess, the success and development of Bodyboarding Vic.
No, cheers, guys, because the feeling's more than mutual and honestly feel that support.
Oh, it's definitely mutual.
This isn't the first time he's been on the potty either, Benny.
No.
Had a bit of a cameo appearance in the dungeon that was the accommodation of Robe.
The yellow submarine bathroom.
Oh, yes.
Now I need a tin of West End.
Mate, I actually have to just inject here. Rui, obviously a good friend of all of ours, called me the other day to chat about the Robe trip. Like he's coming this year, which is epic. And he's like, "Oh, where are you guys staying?" I said, "Mate, I haven't thought about it yet." And he sent me the link to the hotel, and he goes, "What?" And he goes, "What's this place like?" I said, "Oh, best just chat with Adam about that one."
It's that bad, that place?
No. The good thing about bathrooms like that, mate, you just hose the whole thing down. Job done. I want to start with a bit of a backstory recap. I know we've kind of chatted about it before, and we all know each other pretty intimately. But for everyone else out there, I kind of want to run through a few key points. Basically before we get into all the big news. So, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Williams, good friend to the potty, president of Bodyboarding Vic. But we're going to really kind of reel in the line here. We're going to start with the key facts, mate. Born and bred Novocastrian.
Yeah, mate. 35 years. Yui,
brah.
I'm seventh generation coal miner on my dad's side.
Mate, you're not really. I don't think I've ever seen dirt on your hands ever.
Full-time laptop operator for the last few years.
That's right. Mate, how was life growing up in the coal world?
No, so I grew up in Caves Beach and Redhead, which is sort of Lake Macquarie, Newcastle. It was a great spot to grow up, beachside suburbs, much like I know when the first time I went out to Rosebud, Watto and Mornington, it was very similar. So, great spot to grow up around the ocean. Everyone either surfed, fishes, sails, whatever. So, I can't fault it one bit. But probably the big thing growing up in that sort of area was bodyboarding was such a big thing from a real early age. So, sort of in later life and now and in the role that I've taken on, you sort of appreciate that.
Mate, I mean, bodyboarding in Newcastle is still big.
Look at the Newcastle contingent at Nationals last week. Like, I'm pretty sure 90% of the New South Wales team was from Newcastle. They made enough noise to make us think that way.
Yeah, well, I think Luke Beater, a real close mate who's president of Bodyboard Newcastle, they've got 130 members.
That's wild.
And they're about to run the Futures Pro up there, which is another big junior event, and they actually had to cap it. So to keep it to one day, don't get me wrong, but which is pretty sick.
That's epic. And, mate, you are an absolute core lord drop knee devotee, which we'll dive into a little bit further down the track when we start talking about the State of Origin and DKS pool party. But how did you end up on the knee, in comparison to being a prone guy?
It was just something that was always done. So, I got my first slick bottom bodyboard in Christmas of 1990, the OG or first gen Razor 2, and it was just what everyone done. My favourite rider was back then, probably still is, Bullet McKenzie. He DK'd, everyone just done it, and I naturally sort of resonated to it. I think I've always had really good balance, and that was something that goes with DK. And as I got older, I think I was a bit better than the other guys at DK, so I just stuck with it.
Nice. Do you occasionally ride prone or only kind of away from prying eyes?
In the dark.
In the dark.
With a mustache.
Later years I sort of come back to it a bit, and there's sick comps the opportunities and comps like we run at Bodyboard Vic and even Robe, something to once again spin to win and roll to the beach, something. But heart's always a DK.
That's so good, mate. And I tell you, at bodyboarding Vic level as well, you've got one of the greatest, there is, coming up alongside you every single event. It'd be hard not to want to keep doing it, right?
No, Popey's next level, and we'll probably talk about it later when we talk about the Nationals has just gone down here. So Popey and I first met him 25 years ago or 24 years ago. We went to Nationals for the first time, both of us, in 2001 at Ballina, in the same cabin, the whole lot, with Bullet, ironically. And that guy just keeps on getting better, and so much admiration, so much respect, and personally think he's definitely in the top 5 best drop knees in Australia ever, in my opinion.
Mate, I don't think anyone's going to argue that point with you.
No.
Backside, front side, there's no one like him, in my opinion.
There's just this. It's so smooth, but it's so technical as well. To the point that it just looks effortless for him, and that's, I guess, something that everybody strives for, whether they're riding drop knee or prone or basically any sport that they want to do. They want it to appear as if it's easy.
Yeah.
It's almost frustrating to watch, isn't it?
I find drop knee frustrating because I can ride a surfboard and turn that no problems. I can ride prone on a bodyboard, but for the life of me, I can't work out how to drop knee. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but anyway, that's why I watch you guys do it instead.
Something to do with your centre of gravity, I reckon, Watto.
Or lack thereof.
Mate, and you, I guess on to the next thing. You're a true professional from a career standpoint, mate. A proud government employee. Obviously, you made the move down to Vico. I guess that was probably part of the reason. Run us through how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so originally a tradie, so a fridgie or a HVAC mechanic by trade, and I got into health and safety and risk management because my dad had been into it, a very similar trajectory. So I think he had a trade background, got into surveying, then got into health and safety in really early days in the coal industry, and I was pretty interested in it. And Dad sort of mentored me into it, went on a degree in it, and spent probably 10 so years before I moved to Victoria in the coal industry, underground open cut, doing it. And yeah, when I moved down to Victoria, because that's where the mother of my daughter was from, and it was a conscious move, I sort of took the best opportunity, or the first opportunity really, and it happened to be in local government down here. And I've adapted, what went from underground open cut coal mining, heavy manufacturing and safety and risk management into local government, which was bizarre at the start, don't get me wrong, but now I love it. It's, not where I pictured myself 10 years ago, but been in the role for 7 years.
Now, button-up shirt, swivel chairs and unlimited coffee.
Pretty much.
Not a bad deal, mate. Not a bad deal at all.
He's that bloke that rolls up with clean high-vis boots. Oh, wait, that's me too.
But I mean, you're now calling Warrnambool home, which is such an underground kind of coastal location that probably doesn't get the credit it deserves from a bodyboarding standpoint. There is a beachy down there, and we try not to, name locations. Not that it's too much of a secret, but it goes under the radar all the time. It's super consistent. It's a magnet. It pops basically anything from like west southwest to east southeast. It's a damn fine beachy.
Yeah, totally. And the surfing community down here are so dedicated. And that's the one thing, even to this day, I still sort of buckle with coming from Newey. And, the way I always frame it to Anna, my partner, is like you grow up in Newey and everyone either surfed or has surfed or knows someone who surfs. Down here, it's not that way, whether it be bodyboard or surf. And the guys and girls that do it are so dedicated, and the waves they surf are like just excel all the time. It's much respect, but it's taken a lot to adapt to it, put that way.
Oh, mate, one of my, I guess, idols from Vico, who's a big part of bodyboarding in Warrnambool, is Ross the Boss Stewart, and he's one of the OG kind of hellmen to tame lunars, which, as we all know, is a pretty serious wave of consequence. It doesn't seem to get any easier to surf, and we're not too far apart in terms of the age gap, and he's still constantly just pushing the limits. It's big props to Ross and obviously what he's doing with, kind of rebuilding the community side of bodyboarding down there with West Coast bodyboarders.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Probably know Ross a lot closer than I do, but Ross and I actually been speaking this week around nationals and a few other things. And much respect for him and Luke and Kylie and a lot of the crew down here for what they're doing. So
yeah, epic. Mate, and speaking of your partner, Anna, tell us how you guys met. And obviously you're a proud dad to your beautiful daughter, Ava, who turns 7 pretty soon, I think.
Yeah. So next week, Ava's 7. So, Anna and I met nearly 5 years ago. We met online. But, the most amazing human being I've ever met. So intelligent, so much admiration for her. And Will and Luke also form a part of our family.
Yeah.
And she's so supportive of me and bodyboarding in general. She literally knew nothing of bodyboarding before she met me. She knew a bodyboard existed. She'd seen Max 77s I eventually prized that out of her, but like literally had no idea. And it was so cool in a way to meet someone that you're so close to, but has no idea of a whole life or what you've based your life around in a lot of ways. So yeah, I cannot speak more highly of this person as a human being, but I love her to death and I love her family.
Well, mate, she's also a part of the Bodyboarding Vic family. Like she's not a stranger on event days. She compliments everything you do at the beach, mate.
In other words, she's got a pretty warped sense of humour like mine.
It's super good to see like how supportive she is, and I think that's really good. My wife wants nothing to do with bodyboarding whatsoever, but you know, it's great to see Anna and the support and that she gives. So like that's epic. She even was sitting there at Nationals last week, and I spent the whole day pretty much working while I was at Nationals, and yeah, she come and brought me a coffee, and it was muchly appreciated. So yeah.
No, she thinks a lot of you guys as well, seem much like I do.
Awesome. All right, mate. And basically what we're going to do now is just segue straight into the big questions and the main talking points. And this is why it's really important to have you on the potty. But you are a huge driving force behind, I guess, the future success of bodyboarding, Vic. You know, how are you finding that transition in the president's role so far? Like, what's your vision for BV for kind of 25, 26 season? Do you have a big picture? Fill us in, because I guess, you know, Watto and myself have kind of just...
We've retired.
Yeah, we've checked out to a degree. We're just sitting on some tropical island sipping pina coladas.
Yeah, so to answer your question, so personally, I do have a vision for Bodyboard Vic. And it is what I'd probably call sort of short term, and that's, you know, the next couple of years. And that's just to solidify what Bodyboarding Victoria already does. And I spoke to this as an AGM, you know, we have a solid competition structure. We done the Triple Crown or revisited it last year or this year, just to continue that on. There's great judging infrastructure and process around that. And just to build on those things. Likewise, probably was new for this year was the Grom Super Session to each event. Make sure that's incorporated, and that's the short term stuff. Just keep on doing what we did last year, and just refine it. Because so much respect for what you guys and predecessors have done with Bodyboarding Victoria, and like I said, that's probably to answer your question, to refine that long term and how it fits in with the new crew. There's actually some stuff that's gone down in the last couple of months with the first few committee meetings. I've personally been pretty astounded by, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, you know, we've largely got a new crew on the committee. You know, Jacques and Lyndall and Ryan are back again, which is sick, but we've got a brand new crew. So you got Corey Daglish as secretary, Ben Lee Kong as treasurer, and then you got Nath Clark plus Emma Stone Chapman, who's come on board a bit after it. So a lot of new faces, and they've just brought, which politely I was astounded by in the first committee meeting, all these great ideas. Once again, not you know, uncontemporary for want of a better term, but they've brought a lot of enthusiasm. They've already changed some sponsors, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool.
I think that's really important to have new people come in, because I actually was talking to Glenn Elliott about this from Surfing Australia, and I've known Glenn for 20 years or whatever it is, and we were talking about grassroots clubs and about how not so much they remain stagnant, but you end up with the same people in like over and over and over, like doing the same things. And I think it's always good to get like a fresh set of eyes in there, people with different experiences or different viewpoints. And yeah, look, I was at the AGM this year. I was really stoked to see some of these people, you know, come and join the crew and support you as well, because you know you there's yourself as president, but you also you need a great team behind you to help support that.
Exactly, mate. No association, is run by one person. Like you have to have a supportive team filled with people that have unique skill sets and basically different drives to basically push for overall success.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, we've had a couple of committee meetings, and yeah, particularly that last one, I sort of walked away like scratching my head in a really great way. So I think some of the ideas that were put forward, and these are not, like I said, they don't depart really from the usual sort of stuff where we hold competitions and how we do them, but just innovative sort of stuff. It was like, wow, this is so sick. There's a whole range of competencies within this room now. And that's not saying I'm being disparaging to previous committees, but it was just like, wow, this feels really cool. So I think it fit.
Sorry, go for it now.
No, so that sort of fits in with that short-term vision, but long-term vision, once again, this is sort of shallow in terms of years. I'd love to see in the next 5 years Bodyboard Vic once again act as an exemplar, which they already are, in my opinion, in terms of the relationship we have with our governing body, being Surfing Victoria, and guys like yourself, Chris, who are on the board of Surfing Victoria, and really show other states how that can work well, and where that goes to get bodyboarding back on the ISA Games, get a Pro Tour event or Pro Tour back up again. That's the sort of longer 5-year goal for me.
I think that's really exciting. I think it's really good, and I can't reiterate enough what Benny said before. I've been super excited to see what you guys will do, and sort of, I guess, from my perspective as well, it's been a really interesting probably couple of months for me, because it's sort of like I've had 5 years of everything like bodyboarding Vic related, like every single little thing pop up, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And it's sort of, even for me personally, I've had to come to grips with, this isn't something, not so much I don't have to worry, I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's in good hands. And it's sort of always something you sit there and to and pro. But look, you and the new community are doing great things, and I'm super excited to see what you guys are doing.
No, cheers, man. That really means a lot.
And on that note, I guess without giving away too many secrets about what's in store after the next 12 months, have you guys, I guess, put together a bit of a draft calendar in terms of event structures, continuing on with the Triple Crown?
Yeah, definitely. So very, very close to announcing. I spoke with the committee as late as this morning around this. We'll have our calendar set by...
so what you're telling me is you're doing Bodyboarding Vic work on government time. Is that what you're telling me? No comment?
Hey, either way, we pay for it.
Our taxes.
That's right.
Our taxes.
No.
Hard at work.
So, yeah, we'll have our calendar out by the end of September, most likely well before. The Triple Crown will definitely happen again, without letting the cat out of the bag or promising something that may not happen. The committee has appetite to do more than 3 comps, how that could be integrated into a Triple Crown or whatever that looks like. But it's safe to say the Triple Crown will happen again, with the first event definitely before the end of the calendar year.
Are you going back to Phillip Island?
Definitely.
There's one little qualm I've got about Phillip Island, by the way, gentlemen.
Is this about the kebab shop?
Yeah, I'm still a bit cut up about the fact the kebab shop closes 8 p.m. Sorry, that's ludicrous. But anyway, look, it's super exciting to see Phillip Island back on the calendar again. That's
my God!
But just it's a great spot. I think it's potentially, like I said, we've all got to agree, and this is the committee and that sort of stuff, and take feedback around it. But it's sort of that ideal sort of February sort of venue where you've got the ability to move around the island to adapt to conditions. Then you've got people like Bass Coast Shire who were so supportive of us doing and promoting the event, literally off the back of a WQS event, and they were still... So, yeah, and everyone had a great time, sort of a family thing, which Probably is another thing that I should have mentioned in the vision for bodyboarding Victoria, particularly short and long term, is make it really family inclusive, because we've got some great feedback around that, like the Grom Super Session, and making it that way.
They were amazing, mate. They were amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they were epic. Oh, that's really cool to hear. Super excited for that.
So, on to our next point. I mean, the year just keeps rolling forward. That like it's non-stop in terms of events that have happened, events coming up. The first thing I want to talk about, mate, is Nationals 2025, which took place at Urban Surf in Sydney, which for so many reasons is a huge talking point. The most obvious is that it is the first ever national titles event to be held in any surfing format in a wave pool that I'm aware of. Some say it's controversial, some say it's groundbreaking. Chris and Adam, both of you guys were there. I'd love to hear from you guys directly about how it went down. I know the finals format was pretty interesting as well. I'd love to kind of tear that apart and get a better understanding. Fire away.
If I can jump in, to me, obviously leading into the event, like you said, there's a touch of controversy, let's call it that, with it. To me, there was two things going on. Firstly was the decision to hold it there, and the second was, which was a much more dynamic sort of, let's call it an argument to be negative, something on, it wasn't the ocean and so to speak. The whole decision-making process that led itself to there, that's done and dusted. I've got some ideas in the background how we can potentially influence that next year. That's by the by for me. In terms of holding it in a wave pool, I think it was a step in the right direction. I've gone on paper and online something to support Surfing Australia and what they did. I think, and I'll probably paraphrase what I've already said, it's, holding a competition in a wave pool, like a nationals competition in a wave pool, is never going to replace the ocean. But these things exist, these facilities exist. Everyone, including ourselves, right through to WSL, are still working how they exist in the grand scheme of things. I think having the guts to hold it and do what they did was progression. Would you do it again next year? In my opinion, probably not. But I think it was a gutsy call. They did it. They pulled it off. The judging, the way they ran it was great. Well done.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. And look, when we first found out about it, it was sort of a surprise to everyone that was the route they decided to go down, and it was very controversial. And there was a lot of meetings and a lot of conversations in the background about how controversial it is. And I think, look, if you were qualifying for ISA games, it's probably not the right way to possibly do it. I probably would, I'd prefer if you're going to qualify for an ISA games, you do have that ability to go and duck dive and read the ocean and things like that. But look, I take my hat off to Surfing Oz and the team there, and they did an epic job, and it was a really cool vibe. It was different. It was new. The format I thought was pretty cool, which I'll touch on in a second. Probably the other downfall for me is that national trip is generally like Robe trip. You get to hang out with a bunch of mates for a couple of days. You go surfing, you talk shit, you go drink beers at the bolo, have a feed, whatever, and just hang out. Whereas I think, unfortunately, having it in one day and sort of one and done, even though they had boogie nights the night before, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, really shortened that trip. So they were in and out in a short amount of time. There wasn't that sort of hanging out and I'm not going to say networking, but sort of all those other things that happen in the side pieces. So, look, I think that, there was a stack of people that flew out on Friday night straight afterwards. And like I said, myself included, I had to be home. But, in previous trips where, we've done Port Mac or we've done Coughs or whatever, we've been 3, 4, 5 days away and sort of surfed together and hung out beforehand. So that was probably one thing I think that was missing. But all in all, I think it was a great success. I think a lot of people really enjoyed it, and it was interesting to watch the format. And I'll probably touch on the format because it's my kind of nerdy geekery side of things that I like to analyse. But the format was you had 3 waves on the left, you had 3 waves on the right, and then the total, your best wave on the left and the right dictated a leaderboard format. So that leaderboard format, you were scored, that was everyone across every heat. So, for instance, in the Open, there was 3 heats. 3 heats? Yeah, I think that's right. 18 surfers, yep. 3 heats, 6 people a heat. You had 3 waves that you surfed and you were judged on. And then so your top of the left and the right were added together in leaderboard format. And in Open, the top 12 went to finals. In other events, it was like the top 6 that went to finals. Then they surfed the final on the left. So they surfed the final on the left, and your highest score from that left and your highest score from the right was what dictated the placings. So
a little bit confusing.
A little bit confusing, but what was good about it, so for drop knees, for instance, you got to watch guys on forehand and backhand and see how, like, the differences between that. The same with, like, for instance, shout out to Corey. So Corey on our team, his first left wasn't amazing. His right was like a 7-8, I think it was, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So he made that top 12. He had enough points to make that top 12. So when he was going into the final, he was starting off with a 7.8, and then he could build on that score. Whereas I went into finals with a 6. I think it was 6.5 or something like that. I had to build on a 6.5. So it was pretty cool how that worked. And I take my hat off to the guys that were running live heats, because it was all calculated and all done in one format. So it wasn't like you were sitting there going, oh shit, what did Fred get on his right hander? Can such and such go? So, like, one of the highlights for me was Tooley, Liam O'Toole in the Masters dropped a 10 on the right hander. Like he's bloody golden from there, and then he surfs in the final, and I think Chad Jackson was possibly the only one that could come close. I think Chad was coming from like an 8. And
Tooley dropped an 8. He ended up comboed the field in the first. I think his first wave, wasn't it?
Yeah, his first wave was a 9, and he comboed the field, and yeah, you could see that.
God damn, he's good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, like, I surfed Open Men's. That was highly competitive, but my God, the over 35s is a brutal division at the moment. Like, my God, like, some of the surfing that was bloody astonishing. Like, it was absolutely epic. So, yeah, you can tell where the whole sort of, everyone in bodyboarding is at the moment. It's that over 35s bracket. So, yeah, no, it was good.
But I guess some big wins for Bodyboarding Vic. Dane Pope coming home with the drop knee national title, which is huge. Again, he's not a originally born and bred Victorian, but we're really good at claiming anyone that moves south.
We'll take it. Enough people have left Victoria and gone and been successful.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yep.
No, long overdue, and as well as it was so sick to see.
Awesome. And mate, what, I guess, lessons or ideas did you take away from that event, Adam, that you think you might be able to implement back into some of the Bodyboarding Vic projects?
I sort of gleaned on this question before we jumped onto this. It was, like I said, respect for Glenn and Rowan, and then Craig and the judges for doing what they did. But I don't think we could, as Bodyboard Victoria, hold a similar event. It's so intensive in terms of judging infrastructure and that everything goes around. I think the flow state system, which we're going to use in the pool party and already have, lends itself to what we can do, and it proved itself in the state titles. We had a few hiccups, But yeah, great to see learnings. What we could adopt from that. Not much, to tell the truth, and that's not been disparaging from Surfing Oz or anyone there. They did what they did. It ran well. Don't see how you can integrate anything practically in the near term.
I think, not to blow Victoria's trumpet, but the one thing that I found really impressive was that some of those key people actually came to us for some advice on it. And so I guess that Victoria's had 5 years of running events in the pool and different, I've been lucky enough to judge or surf in all sorts of events. I've surfed in Australian board riders battles, like club comps for stand up in there. So it was really nice that I was actually quite honoured that we got a bit of a ask, about some of the things that how it runs. So no, look, hats off to them.
Mate, there's no shame in blowing our own trumpet. Like, I feel like we could do this about now. It's not exactly the trumpet I had in mind. I guess I could come up with it such short notice.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Good, Johnny.
Again, we try really, really hard to kind of link our conversation topics. Moving straight on, another pretty significant event for Bodyboarding Vic, but not just for Bodyboarding Vic, for bodyboarding in general. This is such a huge collaboration project that yourself, Adam, Watto, myself, I've had some input, Clayton Pickworth, the crew from South Oz. We've got the State of Origin Pool Party DKS session event coming up September the 6th at Urban Surf in Melbourne. This is the second year running for this concept. Like, last year was absolutely bonkers. I can't wait to see this thing unfold again. I guess for anyone that's actually tuning into our podcast, what are we at about now, Chris? Like 4 or 5 listeners?
Oh, I thought we were at 3. I thought we'd gone from 2 to 3.
Yeah. Ads, again, you're the man in the moment. We'd love to hear it from you. Like, give everyone a bit of an update. What's it all about? Who, what, why, where, when? I kind of cover that. But why is this such an important event, not just for, the state contingents, but for DKS and bodyboarding in general?
Yeah, great question. Before we jump onto that, and you guys play yourself down, actually the conversation that Craig had and Watto and I had around a few things at Nationals was, about format and the like, but I think Craig did confess he's a big fan of the potty, like a few other people up there, which was pretty cool.
Mate, we're a big fan of Craig.
Yeah, legend. But go back to the pool party DKS. Yeah, second year round. This was the brainchild of Watto and Picker, and that was to hold basically 2 comps side by side in the wave pool. And Watto come up with the idea of doing State of Origin, South Australia versus Bodyboarding Victoria on one side, and DKS will do their own thing. And as you alluded to, last year was a great success. But leading into this year, and now it sort of probably took a lead with it, so to speak, is the State of Origin side has just gone next level. I think the SA guys, and like I said, you're talking to an Overcasher and yes, Welshman who grew up with Origin, which is such a big thing. And it's not only been embraced, but it's just gone turbo. So, it's 2 comps in one. One side, drop knee sessions in the wave pool. The other side, Bodyboarding Victoria versus South Australian bodyboarders, which is 9 aside, cumulative total, best 2 rides. They use a flow state system to personally choose their 2 best waves to be judged, and then a cumulative total, drop to the lowest and minus, determines who wins that concrete flipper.
So I guess just to get everyone else up to speed, Victoria took home the concrete flipper last year, which was pretty awesome. You could say we had a bit of a home ground advantage. We're super, super lucky to have Urban Surf as our training ground. But, and we've spoken about this many, many times on the potty, South Oz took that feat poorly. Like, they went back to the drawing board, I think, pretty deflated, to the point that, as we've all experienced through our group chats, the banter's getting pretty wild, and I think they've made every effort to put a far better team together this year. Look, I know it's not perfect. I know there's a couple of guys that for personal and professional reasons can't make it across this year. Big shout out to Marshall Watson. I would have really, really loved to have had Watto over here. Someone I've had a great deal of respect for a very long time from South Oz. And I think he's also a key makeup of what makes South Australia such a strong bodyboarding community. But gee whiz, like on paper, it's gonna be a battle. Ads.
Gonna say, have you guys got the sides in front of you? Because I've got the sides in front of me.
No. We
No.
don't. I'm just recapping what I have in my mind, and it's terrifying.
I was going to say, I was just sort of third hand, have an idea of who's in there, but this reminds me of the Robe comp, Benny. The first year that I come across and I made the final, then next year, like, there was double the people.
Proper double down, didn't they? But mate, this is what makes it beautiful, right? Like it's competitive, but at the end of the day, like we're all so close, you know, in terms of friendships. Like to me, South Oz a family. I'm sure you guys could agree, but
100%.
Mate, run us through the team. Like, how's it shaping up? You obviously we've got all the teams locked in now.
Yeah, so for South Australia, team captain Jasper Ashmore.
El Jappo.
El
Jappo.
That's a hashtag
Tony
now,
Pert.
by the way. It's a hashtag.
I changed his name in the group chat every time it comes up with El Jappo.
Tony Perks, Port Lincoln legend, Jack Thomas, Brad Olstead, Simon Longworth, Andro, and this is a Dutch name, and I should know it, but I'm just going to call him Andro. He'll know who I'm talking about. Phil Good, Dylan Beach, Landon Beaton.
It's a pretty solid lineup.
I think BT must have got the memo because we gave him such a hard time when we recorded the potty last time.
You know what though? I mean, you know, if we're putting things into perspective here, there's a fair chance Beachy's going to bail at the last minute. He's notorious for it. He'll end up on some little South Pacific getaway with the missus or maybe with a couple other mates. You know, he doesn't really prioritise us anymore, and I'm going to go on record and say that just because I really want him to hold up his end of the bargain.
He might have some Shirazes to sample in the Barossa, something like that.
But to look at our side too, it's evenly stacked. So you got Ryan Jacker as captain, Chris yourself, Mark Britton, Alex Ashcroft, Corey Daglish, Jacques Leroux, Nathan Clark, and Trent Pont.
So what's great about this?
And Rui.
Yeah, Rui. So what's great about this is when you look at the stats on paper, like in terms of the hours put in at the pool, like there's actually not even a clear comparison. Again, this is the benefit of having urban surf in our backyard here in Vico. Like we would be into the thousands of combined surfing hours from our representative team compared to South Oz that, maybe at 100 at best. And, I'm not saying that to kick those guys in the guts. They're just all-round great bodyboarders, but I'd like to say we still have that home ground advantage. And I really can't wait to see that unwrap.
Yeah, 100%.
I think also the strategy behind it as well. I mean, I got to judge last year because I was pretty unwell. But watching one of the most fascinating things for me, and I was talking to Haddo about this at Nationals, was watching some of the waves that people submitted. And I'd watched a fair bit of those sessions, and you sit there and you're like, oh, why just like there was other waves that were better than that. But yeah, and the great thing about this format is it holds the riders accountable as well, and they've got to submit what they consider their best waves are. So it sort of puts the onus on them.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you again, I mean, I don't think you have to really run through the format too much. I think everyone's kind of spent enough time at the wave pool now and witnessed through such events as Nationals and what we've done. Basically there's a process. There's X amount of waves per set. You allocate people waves, etc. Is there anything that's changed for this year, ads?
No, so with the pool party format, it's just basically free. So you submit your 2 waves. There's no war marshals. It's just go your hardest. Obviously, there's still the process or the criteria where you obviously don't staple drop in at Urban, but basically you just go and get as many waves as you want, keeping in with the guidelines. You submit your 2 best ones from the left and the right. We judge those, and that's how it happens.
Nice. I had another question about it, but now I forgot. I guess, just want you to kind of recap on how when it's taking place. Saturday, September the 6th at Urban Surf in Tullamarine. What time's it all kicking off?
Yeah, sweet.
I'm only asking because I need to know what time I need to get there myself.
You're on the trigger.
Yeah, I am. I need to be there early.
Yeah. So Saturday, 6th of September, Urban Surf Melbourne. First session will be 9 till 10 a.m. with an hour break in between, then 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. Then looking to do the preso from about 1:30 onwards.
And that hour break in between, is that still open as a free surf session?
Not at the same as last year. So you can book it on the Urban Surf stuff, but we've just booked out for those 2 hours.
Gotcha. Awesome. And now moving into, again, basically a follow-up event to the pool party, which is the Robe trip, which has now become, I guess, a bit of a cult figure event in the Bodyboarding Vic calendar. It's not really our event, but we've kind of come to play a big part in its growth and development and success. It's called the Robe trip because it sounds pretty cool. But essentially it's over in Robe in South Australia. Really cool community event that's been running for, I think, 13 years now. Mate, again, we want your insiders on it. You know, Watto and I could talk for days about how fun these trips are, but mate, again, it's something that's building in that bodyboarding Vic network as well. I know there's a few guys coming across this year that haven't been before. So we're putting up quite the fight. Yeah,
100%. And there's, like I said, there's a few guys already keen and we want to just build on that because it's like one of those sort of, like I said, it's got a bit of heritage, like 13 years to me. That I was trying to describe this to a mate, mate Luke Beto, I said the president of Huey Bodyboarders, and it's much like a David Goose Cosby or a Jeff Wilcox event sort of thing. You know, they've been potentially going for a bit longer, but it's got that feel. It's not as polished, but it's just one of those annual things you go to. It's a bit of a boys trip or a bit of whatever you make it sort of trip, but and there's bodyboarding attached to it. It's just a great vibe. And for someone who'd never been to Robe 3 years ago, this will be 2 years ago. This was my 3rd year there. I just love it. It's just such a bizarre place.
She definitely ain't no polished diamond, that's for sure.
I love Robe. It's my favourite trip.
And lots of sparkling Merlot.
Sparkling Merlot. I hope they've topped up from last year. We drunk them out last year.
I think they stopped making it, mate.
Apparently, we're looking for some sparkling Shiraz this year, according to Roe. So, I have it on good authority that there's a few key players that attended last year and the year before that are making their way. So, I will be picking up a certain person from the airport to come on down. I'm pretty excited
someone
about.
That's very close to this podcast. We'll just leave it at that. But I do know Rui's coming across for his first trip this year, which is huge. And look, the invitation's open to anyone in the bodyboarding community. It's not just a collaboration for Bodyboarding Vic or SABC. It is an open event, and it's a community event. It's not playing for sheep stations. It's all about bringing good people together to have a good time, share some fun waves, and drink sparkling Merlot.
Have a cheeky Corona on the beach in the sun.
Yeah,
Get a flat battery on a jet ski, all these sorts of things.
While you judge the fun.
Yeah.
Pen and paper. I love it.
That final last year was absolutely ridiculous, and sorry, Al Japo, but all the Victorians did judge that final, thank you very much. That was a full Victorian board who judged it.
I think we need to really have a bit of a judging briefing before we start this event this year. But I think the way they do things different, over there, a little bit different, and don't necessarily align with the constitution of a surfing event.
But how was that first exchange where I think you had the first two waves and you had Beatty and Mash on the first one, first wave, and there was Japs and Julian on the second wave, and all four of them rode the wave identical, and we're all sort of sitting there going, what do we do with that?
Time to get out the abacus.
Yep.
Hey, mate, I think we're going to wrap it up there now, Az, because we've got Clayton Pickworth on hold to kind of follow up with a bit of a further conversation to get his insight into DK sessions at the pool this year. Mate, it's been epic having you back on board. We really appreciate you making the time. We know you're a busy man. We're super stoked for what's ahead with Bodyboarding Vic under your leadership. So, yeah, we can't thank you enough. But before we let you go, mate, is there anything else you want to add, kind of a bit of an insight you want to give to the listeners to where they can keep up to date with anything relative to BV, whether it be via socials, website, etc.?
Yeah, no, it's 100%. Before I jump onto that, and I promise the guys this, the Pool Rats, which is the new crew that are in based out of Urban Surf Sydney, we met them at Nationals. We'd been in correspondence. They're very like-minded guys. They're Brendan and Gavin, the crew, legends. They'll be listening to this. That's something Bodyboard Vic will partner with, on a social aspect. So props to you guys. In terms of keeping up to date with anything to do with Bodyboard Vic, obviously Instagram and Facebook, but also our website rather. So there's a shop on there with all our merch, and as the merch sort of range grows through the year, jump on there. www.bodyboardingvictoria.com.au.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to catching up with you, in a few short weeks at the pool.
Legend. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Right.
Pico, how are you, buddy?
Good, mate. And you?
Mate, we're always great here at the Closeout. We're just a happy bunch of individuals that get to talk about the things that we love.
Yes, exactly, mate. I'm feeling you. I'm feeling the love. And it's good to be back on the potty, I tell you, mate. It's been a little while. Been a red hot minute.
Mate, you're part of a unique bunch of people. We've all got the face for radio.
Absolutely. Yes. No doubting that, my friend. And that's why we all love to do these kinds of things.
Hey, mate, you're obviously a familiar face, on our panel, and we're always honoured to have you as a guest. But yeah, I mean, it's been 12 months since we last caught up. Mate, fill us in. What's been happening?
Yeah, it's gone so quick, hey? And, there's been lots and lots happening, Benny. And, in the DKS side of things, it's been a steady but, sort of sharp last couple of months. Just obviously getting the entries out to the people and the info that we changed from, Port Macquarie to heading down to Foster for this year, and a lot of guys were sort of hanging on to hear that news because they wanted to get their stuff sorted with travel and dates and everything, which I understand, and it just had to sort of go through the ringers, as they say, and with the councils and the permits and approvals and all that sort of stuff. Took a little while. We're about sort of 99% ready to go for the pool party as well, and just locking a couple of little things away with that. So yeah, lots happening in the DKS space, mate, and it's all pretty good.
So is this the 18th DKS?
I believe so, yeah. So first one in 2002, but we had a little hiatus there from the end of 2010 after the 2010 event, and I think this was the last chat that we had on the potty. It was went over to WA and took a few years off and just sort of reset and everything, and went down the work sort of family life sort of corridor, and then we came back in 2017, I think it was. So yeah, I think it's about the 17th one or something like that. Yeah.
And like you said, this year it's in Forster, and October the 18th, off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's correct, mate. Yep. So we've gone away from going back to back like we did last year. So we did the pool event first, and then the next weekend we came back to Port and did the event. straight after on the next weekend. But I just thought this year, just to sort of mix it up a little bit and give the people a bit of a break that did come and spend a lot of money come down to the pool event, and then having the burden of the DKS the very next weekend as well. Thought we'd just sort of split that up again this year and give the guys a bit of a break, get back to their families, etc., and work life and stuff. So it seems to have been the right decision for this year.
What's the feedback been like for changing the changing the location, mate? Is that the first time you run DKS there?
No, mate. So back in the day, in sort of the early 2000s, sort of 5, 6 sort of region, my very first sponsor, Simon Luke, who had the Breakall Caravan Park in Port Macquarie, him and his old man acquired Tiona Park, which was down near Bulls Paddock, and it was a church sort of commune sort of area that they turned into a caravan park. And it's still an epic location, and so he sort of dragged us down there to sort of build up the business and that down there as well, get people and events down that way. And so we did about 2 or 3 years down there while him and his father owned that location as well. So again, that was where we started our first back-to-back weekends at DKS, and we hit up Foster first, and then we came back to the traditional place in Port and finished it off in Port. So yeah, we did a couple of years down there, sort of the early to mid 2000s. Before Simon and his old man ended up selling the property down there, and then we canned that and just came back to Port. But look, the reaction to going somewhere different, and especially around Foster and the Pacific Palms area, huge wave haven down there. We all know that, and it's been received very, very well. A lot of positive feedback. Not a lot of guys sort of, thank God it's not in Port Macquarie again, but it's just that fresh, good, different location. We get a different sort of couple of beaches, different sort of setups with, tunners and all the way down to sort of like North Boomerang as well. So, very well received this year.
Epic. The rumour mills are running wild, mate. I hear you've got some big new sponsors on board this year.
Yeah, well, look, the guys from NGN Civil, this is for Port, the Foster comp. The guys from NGN Civil have come back. Guy and Andrew, who I went to school with, they run a civil company out of Brisbane and do a lot over in WA at Port Hedland, etc. And they've really seen the worth in, supporting something back for like around their home area. Putting money back into the community and sporting events and stuff like this. And the way we present DKS, the way we present the event itself, what it does, what it means to people, and the longevity that we've had in the community and supported by the DK followers and etc. from not just locally but from around the world. They really sort of like that. They've sort of looked right into how much we affect the community and how much we get supported by loyal supporters that come to the event as well. So they're again our major sponsor for this year. I think it's the 3rd year in a row. So really stoked to have those guys back on board. We've got Benny from Inverted who's come on this year as one of our minor sponsors as well. So that's fantastic.
He's a good guy, isn't he?
He is an absolute legend, mate. Yeah, he's very, very knowledgeable. As you know, you've had him on the potty before, mate, and he is all over the industry and knows everything and anything about bodyboarding. So, really, really good. It's a hard man to get hold of sometimes as well, but gee, when it's a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really, really stoked. And then we've got a local NDIS company that I sort of work with in the mental health space here in Port Macquarie with Self-Seen, men's group here. With Ty Roma, his name is Ty Roma, and he runs a company called Tris. And they're massive. They're huge here in Port Macquarie and the surrounding areas. And Ty just like backs it from day one. He's just like, yeah, whatever you need, mate. We'll get you the cash, get you the support we need. And we'll come down and we'll lend a hand, etc. So, yeah, really good to have some diverse people coming in and looking at the sport. And then down at the pool this year, really, really off the chart, stoked to have BYD cars come on this year for the pool party. So
this is mind blowing. This is amazing.
Yeah, look, it's a contact that I had with a mate of mine from down that way, and that's that. We'll have a chat about that at the pool, but yeah, they have obviously they have a relationship with Urban Surf itself already. If people want to look at some footage of Melbourne Urban Surf and stuff, their logos are up along the side of the wall, which you'll see pretty much on any wave. So it's sort of a bit of a no-brainer, but it's really good to have this contact with. He's the general manager of Victoria and Tasmania. It's really good to get some high up, people to have a look at our sport and get them down there, get them involved, come and have a look and see what we do, like why we do this and why we push this event so hard, and and as you know, guys, like that last year when we did the first year with South Oz coming up and the bodyboarding Vic guys going at it as well, like it was just such an epic vibe, and the event went so well. These guys are going to be blown away when they show up and see what we actually do and how we promote people that come and support our sport. So super stoked to have them on board this year, and we'll get down there and we'll have a little natter in his ear and see what we can do into the future.
Mate, well, this is probably a great opportunity to just move straight into talking a little bit more about the DK sessions, collab with Bodyboarding Vic and SABC. SABC, got that right. So again, this is the second year. Like, such a groundbreaking concept for bodyboarding, but not just bodyboarding. I think for water sports in general, where you've basically combined two different events into the same spot on the same day, and it worked so well, and it also just built up a community of bodyboarding that I guess geographically was quite spread out. Mate, what did you take away from that event last year? Like, what did you think worked? I mean, I think the obvious is what was special about it, but what do you want to do differently this year in 2025?
I think it's so what worked well the first year? The support. Like, for me on the DKS side, my entry form didn't even hit the internet. There was that, people were emailing and messaging me saying, "You've got to save me a spot. I've got to have a spot. This is going to be unbelievable." So that support from the riders, number one, was that was insane. Like, that's a promoter's dream, right? To sell out before you even put an internet entry form on the internet. So, I did have to deal with a few people that were on the sorry side to say, look, the spots are taken. I can't fit any more people in. But that's the way the cookie crumbled, and so that worked really well. The support from the riders from the start. The names we got there, the level of surfing, and everyone was happy to go beast mode, get the best conditions possible to showcase what they could do. They just frothed on it that hard, and they were super supportive. Yeah, in the water, it was a bit of spite here and there, and a bit of jovial joking around, etc. But at the end of the day, we're all there for the same reason, and that was really, really cool. And the interaction that we had, with the South Oz and Vico guys, it's just such a cool vibe, and everyone wanted to make that event succeed, because they knew how special it was, and we had two disciplines in the water as well. Everyone could see both sides of bodyboarding. Really, we had obviously the DK. Some of the best riders in the world, Lackey, Tyson, Brant Maloney, Welshie, Popey, the names are endless there, right? And then we kick it over to the other side, and we've got two of the best states, that have massive names in bodyboarding, pushing the limits on the other side of the pool. Like, you couldn't ask for anything more, in my opinion anyway. And we had howling offshore. You were in there, Benny, you were floating around in there, mate. You knew what it was like. We had a really, really top-notch event, mate, and that's you can't ask for more than that on the first dibs. And no matter how much support you've got, you just want it to run and flow really well, and that it was absolutely seamless. But from this year, the flow state stuff is going to be really intriguing, important. it could push this event just that little bit further with, the submission side of their waves and even the judging platform that we're going to try and utilise this year. That's all packed into the AI cameras and flow state. So, yeah, that one's going to be interesting. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that side of things. Hope that just goes as planned. Bringing new people in, bringing new sponsors, all that sort of stuff. That's what it's all about. We want to grow every year and keep that hype going, and that rivalry for you guys, for the Vico and the South Australia guys were, the concrete flipper. It's just such a cool little thing at the end, and it's on the DKS side we do our thing. It's just, I don't know, it just works, man, and I'm really, really happy that we went ahead with it. It's such a great idea.
And I think, and you spoke about it briefly, the AI side of it. Pardon me, this is groundbreaking, right? And we're not even really seeing this in stand-up surfing. Like, bodyboarding seems to really be harnessing, I guess, the process and development of AI to use to help build our sport. Of course, there's going to be some, chinks in the armor, but, we've seen it now at nationals. We've seen it in some of the events we've done down here. Like, it gets better and better every day, and it's such a user-friendly tool. I hope AI is listening to this conversation so they don't, kill me Terminator style down the track. But I'm a big fan of it. I'll be honest, in the beginning, I was pretty reluctant, but man, it takes so much pressure off, I guess, some of that operational side of running an event, and it takes the bias out of it as well, right? To a degree.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. It's everyone knows, the people that have been to events and run events, et cetera, in bodyboarding, they know the costs, right, that they're up for with the judging panel and how that judging panel operates, and so the costs involved in having the panel come from all parts of the globe at some stages, and
it ain't cheap.
So it's the most be straight up. It's the most expensive part of my event, especially up here at DKS on the coast. So you've really got to budget for that hard. You've got to put it aside, and you've got to make sure it works. So when it comes to the pool and the AI and flow state and how they're now looking at integrating this judging side of things into the AI and the tracking and the capturing of it all is, as I say, it's groundbreaking. We're using it. We're making it better. We're constantly working with these guys for feedback, going, look, no, that's shit, get rid of it, or no, keep that bit, that's really good, move this, do that. So, it's a work in progress, absolutely, but mate, the way it's going at the moment, these things are going to be tidied up pretty quickly, I think, and they're just such a bit of breath of fresh air for an organiser, and to be able to capture everything and not miss anything is a huge bonus, I think, to the riders and the people that pay good money to go to these events.
I'm kind of hoping AI fails to a degree in the point that maybe it takes over, the engineering side of the pool. So all of a sudden it goes from being like, this 3 foot, hectic barrel, and it just doubles. And then all of a sudden it's out of control. There's water everywhere and it's 6 foot.
Well, that's what
I think
people
you're
are asking,
right.
right?
It's what we want.
They're sort of asking, can it go bigger? Can the pool go bigger?
I think it can.
I think you raise a good point there, Pico, where with this format, you're putting the onus back in the riders' hands to submit what they consider their 2 best waves. And we were just having a chat to Adam Williams, and I think one of the surprising things for me last year was some of the waves that riders submitted, and probably not what I would have submitted, but everyone's different. But yeah, it puts the onus on the rider to say, "Hey, these were my best waves." And you're like, "Okay, I can only judge what you've put in front of me."
I think that's the best part about it. What you bang on there. It's an interpretation thing of somebody surfing, right? When a judging panel judges that person in the water in a heat against other people. So it's another level. It's a different curve when they get to give you what they think is the best. You know, it's a massive turning point in contest. You know, strategy and, you know, how they interpret. You know, is it more style based they want to look at? Is it more, you know, power? Is it turns? Is it whatever it is? They've got a totally different view of what I think a judging panel views it. So, in a way, yeah, I think this is kicking goals because they're basically giving us the feedback of what they think is good, you know. So it can only get better and better, I think, with, you know, sort of looking and interpreting what, you know, futuristic stuff can come out of the pool too.
I think that's a great point. And the other thing is that I love about this format is that you give the riders 2 hours to go and put their best waves together. And it's not like, here you go, here's a handful of waves. They're going to go and, you know, they might go and blow 10 waves trying something, but at the end of the day, they need 2 good waves or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it sort of promotes, I guess it promotes some progression where they can feel like they can send it and they can feel comfortable to send it. Like I said, we were just talking to Adam Williams and with the Nationals format, it was cool, it was exciting, but you thought to yourself, I've only got 3 waves to prove myself. So it's good to see different types of innovation there. I really like this format, but yeah, a little bit biased in there. But
just off the back of that is, I get what the Nationals had to do as well. You probably, as you said, your ads probably would have ran through all this as well, but I get what they did. They had a lot of divisions to get through. They had, you know, basically the judges had 10 hours of judging in the one day, right? So a lot of waves to differentiate stuff from. I've had a little bit of feedback from a few of the guys that went there, you know, and it's not the same as what we're doing, obviously, because if you don't go ham in our event, you're not going to win it, right? If you know you're up for 3 waves, well, you're going to, as I say, you're going to build your house, right? You're going to get one that's not, you know, so freaked out. You're going to get a fairly decent score and try and get a solid score on one, and then maybe the next 2 waves go as hard as you can to try and, you know, boost it up a little bit from the second wave. But if it doesn't work, then you've still got a safe wave at the first one, right? So, yeah, this one where you've just got an hour, you've just got no rushes, you're just going at it as hard as you can. That I think is, that works so well.
Yeah, I agree, and it's funny you're saying that because I'm having a bit of a giggle to myself because that's exactly how I surfed it.
Yeah.
I built the house. I got the wave I knew I would get every day of the week that I could replicate over and over again with the highest scoring potential, and then you went from there. But yeah, no, it's great points.
Hey, mate, I want to talk about the lineup. Who's locked in for the pool party this year?
Well, I've got massive news for you.
Hot off the press.
We've got the usual suspects. Okay, we've got our defending champ Dane Pope. Obviously, he'll be there 100%. Welshie, Docco. We've got Graham Maloney coming along. We've got Juan Castilla. He's coming down as well. So it'd be exciting to see him in there. He's surfed a lot of pools around the world. So really stoked to have him on board. We've got Justin Kirkpatrick coming back. So a lot of guys that have been there before. A few newcomers to Levi Frangos from up Sunny Coast is coming down. But the big one, who I've just secured like 2 days ago, would you believe, is Mikel Copetta from Chile.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Solid.
Huge name, right?
That's epic, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, so he'll be in Melbourne on the 4th, and and he's pumped. He's like, I'm coming for you. So he's really excited and wants to take a bit of money off the boys, so to speak. So look, the competition's going to be real this year, and look, some big names back in the fold, and we're super stoked about that. And, it's going to be very, very exciting to watch.
Nice.
I got to share a car ride back to the airport on last Friday night with Sir Dane Pope, national champion, and he was pretty excited about it all, and he's in bloody fine form at the moment, Mr. Dane Pope. So it'll be very good to see.
Mate, speaking of Pope, I kind of want to shine a little bit of a spotlight on him. He's someone that's probably a little bit too humble that, no one really talks about enough. But he deserves more praise than so many people, not just in the drop knee community, but bodyboarding community in general. Recently just taken out nationals up at Urban Surf in Sydney. There's not many events that Dane hasn't won throughout his very kind of low-key bodyboarding career. He's the most kind of happy, low-flying guy, in a rash fest, right? Like, if he loses a heat, he's cool with it. If he wins a heat, he's cool with it. Like, he never gets out of balance, but he's just so goddamn good. Like, Watto and I spoke about this with Big Willie just before. Like, he's incredibly smooth. Like, his rail work is pristine. Like, there's not a drop of water out of place. But at the same time, he's incredibly technical, across all, standards of waves. Like, he's so good in the little stuff, but he's incredible in the big stuff. Like, what do we got to do to get this guy in a bigger limelight? I mean, he's pale skin, he's got red hair. We've got to be careful with how many UV rays we throw his way. But, we need to put this guy on a really big pedestal.
I totally agree, mate. Firstly, I'm super proud to call him a mate. Like, he's been really good to me over 20-odd years of coming and supporting DKS, and he's one of the OGs from the very first event that we ran, and he's stuck with us every year after that. And look, this guy's so calculated. You say, like, he wins a heat, it's no issue. He loses a heat, it's no issue. Let me tell you, when he loses a heat, he doesn't show any, like nothing's going on, but underneath, mate, he's seething because he goes back and he's so calculated. He goes back and he goes, right, now I know what I didn't do on that wave, or this is why I didn't get through, or whatever. And he goes back and he trains, man, and he's like, no, I'm going to fucking fix that up for next time. I'm not going to let that happen again. So underneath, mate, he's a very, very competitive guy, but he'd give you his last dollar. He's just such an amazing dude, and as I said, this guy's been on it for a fucking long time, man. He has been on rail for a very, very long time. He's so dialed in with his boards. He works very, very closely with Glenn at Project, and he's worked with Ken over in Japan as well for early days and things like that. So he is very, very calculated with his gear and knows exactly what he needs. He's got that pool dialed. He knows exactly, that's his edge in the pool, is his equipment. He knows exactly what he needs to use in the pool, what's going to work for him. And it showed last year. Like, he just tore that place apart, mate. And some of the slow-mo video that we got of him is, I still just shake my head at it every time I watch it. It's just amazing. And, being away on surf trips in Samara, etc., with him and traveling and stuff. And look, you could not meet a nicer guy. Can't speak highly enough of him. And where's his fucking video? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I get it, Benny. I really
do. Listening to Popey talk about boards, like I said, I had a really good chat with him, and he's so calculated with what he wants from his equipment. You're spot on.
Yeah.
And one of the little tidbits from Nationals, and it cracks me up. I love Popey. Like, I think he's the greatest human being. With the Nationals format, you had for your final score, it was based on your right from the first round and the left from the final. Now, Popey came in with a 7.83, for his right hand wave, and as a Glossop came in with a 9.7.
Yeah.
And Popey tells me afterwards, he goes, I heard 9.7. He goes, well, that's going to be a bit hard. But he goes, when I heard it was 9.07, I'm like, that's doable. I can do that.
That's him.
And it gave me a really good insight into how Popey's brain works. And I'm like, yep. And sure enough, he did. He absolutely ripped. Like, you're spot on. He's so calculated. Yeah. The engineer of him.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, like he's so wide, and mate, it's Look, I as I said, I totally agree with your comments, Benny. You know, these are the type of people you want to see do well, because they're such genuine people, and they've been doing it for so long, and they give so much without wanting anything back whatsoever. And you know, you only wish the best for those sort of people, and you know, well, one day, mate, he'll, you know, we'll get something together for him for sure, and let's hope it's sooner rather than later, because you never know in this crazy world we live in, where we're going to end up. And look, some of even the photos of him when he was living up in Queensland, you know, when Kira was cracking and stuff like that, and look, he's just been doing it for way too long, and he's that good.
Yeah, he's almost like again, like in terms of style, like he's like the Machado, right? He's like the Rob Machado of Drop Me. Like it's just his rail surfing it's just on pivot. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Benny. I don't think he's got like the full flick in his game, which is not really what you want to see sometimes, because to me, when the flick goes kind of wrong and you're really trying to throw the tail out hard on DK, and it goes wrong, you just lose control, right? And that's not what we want to see. We want to see total control when you're on the knee, and this guy is rail to rail, mate. And then, as you say, just not a drop of water out of place every time. And he knows that, you know, with his backhand as well, I think we need a closer look at that in regards to scoring and the rail work that he does on his backhand. I don't think we pay enough attention to it across the board, you know, with people on backhand. But yeah, in that pool last year, he showed like a couple of those photos that Tal got of him in the water were just incredibly. You just go, how the hell did you get into that spot, but ended up coming out? You know?
Yeah,
and it's all due to his dialed in rail work.
Hey, mate, I want to move on and kind of wrap things up because again, I know we're all pretty strapped for time. But, mate, you've been doing this for such a long time, you know, running events year in, year out. It ain't easy. Mate, you're sharing your time, not just across DKS. You've done so much judging across a network of World Tour, domestic, local events. Like, what keeps the fire burning in you? Because, I mean, at some stage, you know, we all get burnt out.
Yeah, look, 100%, mate. And you know, I feel it every year. It does get more and more the stress and the worry and the angst, and you know, of trying to find sponsors and make sure you keep, you know, your budget, and you know, you got to get the money across the line and try and offer as much as you can every year to an event. But I think, you know, mate, the last sort of 4 or 5 years, when, you know, around obviously when COVID came, it really did affect a lot of people where they couldn't get to at a lot of things in their life, right? And DKS was one of them. We only could have New South Wales people travel, stuff like that, so a lot of people missed out. But, you know, I think that changed DKS a little bit. People now put it on their calendar for a mental health break, you know, and stuff like that, where it's just their one time of the year where they are now, you know, it's their time, you know, where they get their break from work or whatever the case may be, you know, and it's not just about coming to try and win the event anymore. It's about coming and hanging out, catching up, meeting up with the fellas again, and just having an awesome time. And I think that change is what has kind of kept me going, is now offering and knowing that people are coming for a totally different reason is, the worry about putting on such a glamour, all the hype and everything, is kind of, they're not really worried about that much, so much anymore. They just want to come and be a part of it. They just want to come and hang out. So to sort of drop off the judging side of things and just concentrate on making sure everyone's okay, everyone turns up every year, and we just give them a good event, and that's all that kind of matters now. So, and the pool events just sort of revive this, the fire as well. It's a totally different side of things, and it's good to be involved in something different. And that's me. I'm different. I've always been that way. So that's I just love it. It's the love of it. Once that love goes, mate, you won't see me again. So it's whenever these guys keep coming, that's the main thing. I really see the joy in them turning up and hammering in a picket and putting a banner up and just generally helping out. And the real reason just to be there to be a part of it, which is it's very humbling, but it's what keeps me going as well.
I think that's really, really cool, Pico, and it's sort of like the DK equivalent of for us is the Robe event. It's not so much about the surfing; it's about hanging out with a bunch of mates and going surfing. But like everyone puts it in their calendar, they have a chin wag that you go and have a beer, you go and catch up, and all those sorts of things. And I think that stuff's really healthy, and I think it's really good that everyone gets a chance to do it. And really stoked to hear that's sort of been a highlight, and I think that is a really rewarding piece.
Yeah, 100% it is, mate. And we're all feeling the joints and the pains, getting a little bit older and older every year, and so I think what we do is we cherish that time a little bit more and understand it as well. We understand the contest directors and the people that put these events on when we turn up, how much work does actually go in behind the scenes, and the stress and the worry and the pounding of the pavement to try and find sponsors, etc. Is it's not just a week before the event type setup. It's a 12-year gig, mate. 12-month gig. It just rolls in every month, every week. You just goes into next year, and it doesn't stop. So seeing the guys that acknowledge that, and they understand it now a little bit more. I think they get a little bit older, a little bit wiser. That's really cool. I really appreciate them turning up but acknowledging that fact as well.
Do you have any kind of bigger visions to expand DKS for the future? Again, I mean, you're doing so much yourself, so any kind of expansion requires, more hands-on work. But have you had discussions with that drop knee community about how you can, make it bigger?
You know what, mate? It's funny you should mention it because the pool stuff is what is drawing most of the attention. It's not so much just the DKS event anymore. You guys would know Rollins Wood, right? Drop knee from Hawaii from back in the day, and the Fu Manchu videos, etc. He's reinventing himself. He's back in his fitness stuff, and he's getting back on the knee again in Hawaii and surfing a lot more and getting a lot involved. He said, "Mate, what can we do? How can we get an event over here like that?" And he's not the only one. There's been over many years been people sort of putting their hand up to say, "Look, how can we make this happen? And what do you do? How do you set it up? Blah blah blah." So. Look, there's a lot of expansion that could happen in a very short space of time if people are willing to do the work. Because, you can't just jump on a plane and go to Peru or anywhere for a weekend and set something up. It's not feasible. So, look, it's trying to get those communication lines with those people that are keen to, I guess, kind of like franchise it, I guess, in a way. Yeah. And if people are that keen and they see the need for it, like back when even, let's say, Peru and that was the Inca Challenge used to happen there, and those guys ended up running just the DK solo event as well. They seen the worth in it for their community. So there's a lot of little things that can happen, mate, but takes a lot of work. That's all. So, but the future at the moment is pretty steady. We're just going to keep sort of, ticking along. So no massive plans to sort of expand or do stuff. But gee whiz, I don't know what you can do for me, Benny. But if they have that ladies' heat at Shark Island again next year, I reckon we could probably put 2 DKers in there with them as well.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's a follow-up conversation for sure. All right, mate. Well, on behalf of Chris and I, thank you so much for your time. As I've said, I know it's late, but we all try to make the best of the opportunities we have. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on as a guest on the potty, mate, and we can't wait to catch up with you in the flesh again in a few weeks' time down in Melbourne. Once again, for everyone listening, DKS sessions in Forster, October the 18th, and then obviously pool party versus State of Origin, September the 6th. 2 epic events, 1 big drop knee community, mate. Awesome.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me on again. Really appreciate it. Good to chat to you guys. You're legends. Thanks heaps.
Awesome, mate. We'll see you soon.
You.
Thanks,
Bye.
Pico.
Thanks, Wardo. Thanks, Benny.